Well, hello there. Welcome back to the BC channel. Just a little quick look for any of you who like the technical side of things. This is a 2015 Chevy Tahoe. Air conditioning complaint. A little sweaty. It's all air conditioning complaints lately. The issue with this one, customer states, the driver's side is not as cold as the passenger side. The AC obviously is doing something. It works, but it's not working like it's supposed to on the driver's side. Passenger side is always cold. He drives, he's warm. When the wife drives, she's warm. They switch back and forth. It's never the same. Our technician Sean measured a 20-degree difference from side to side. I have recovered the refrigerant. Part of what we do when we have something like this is one of the first things we do is recover the refrigerant. You can get weird operation, weird differences in vent temps based on a low charge. It's not super common, but some of them will do that. And that's the only symptom. This one was low on refrigerant. Not a lot. I recovered 1 pound, 14 ounces. The spec is 0.92 kilogram, which is just over a pound, or roughly, I'm sorry, I misspoke, roughly 2 pounds. So it was a little low. I corrected that just to make sure that's not what we were dealing with. That is not what we were dealing with, because with the charge corrected is exactly the same. So we move on to other things, and here's what I observed. We've moved inside the vehicle, and I'm going to switch over and show you my screen. So here you can see our AC controls are set to full blast, ice cold, knock your socks off, frozenness. Now, I did not think to put a thermometer in here, but I'm a very believable guy. This is frosty cold. This is just cool. Ice cold, cool. Now if we look at our display, which is not ready, what we look at here is we can watch the positions, the desired and actual, for the passenger side temperature door, which is the side that's working properly. See that its desired is 80 and the actual position is 82, which is very close. You're talking about maybe I don't know what the total range is. That would be a good thing to look up, but it's probably almost a full circle of 360 degrees, maybe not quite. We switch over here to the desired left and the actual left, you'll see that they're not even close. And as I manipulate the temperature control for the driver's side, it does all kinds of funny things that don't agree with each other. You can make it move, it will move. It's not moving right now. There we go. Our desired changed. Yeah, we're seeing, okay, so there's some different numbers. If we rotate it back to full cold here, that's how it acts. Now in my testing and observation of this, that actual number for the left side never got any lower than about, on its own I should say, it never got any lower than about 220 to 250. And it feels cool, but not cold. As I sat here for about 15 minutes playing with the control, like one increment at a time, trying to see what it would do, if it would make any difference, it was trying. You could tell that it's actually moving and it's doing something. And at one point, that actual position number got down to about 160, maybe a little lower than that, I forget the exact number. But for a few seconds it actually felt quite a bit colder than just cool. It felt almost cold. So that tells me that the door can actually move. We won't know that until we take the actuator off and confirm that, but I think the door can move. I think the actuator is just gone kaboom inside of itself. The actuators on most of these are just a little gearbox with an electric motor in it and a position sensor. And the controller tells it to turn this way, and it reports back to the controller what position it's in. A lot of times we pop those open and look, and they've got little gears that are stripped. Just another thing that's grossly underbuilt. They're just designed to be cheap. So our next step is going to be to remove that actuator for the driver's side, and then we can manually turn the door. We want to see if the door physically goes from one stop to the other. If it doesn't, then that's one of the worst phone calls I have to make, because basically the whole instrument panel has to come out of here, center console. Nobody wants that call from me. So hopefully the door swings back and forth like it's supposed to, and we can just put an actuator in it and be done with it. We'll find out on Monday. So just like that, it's Monday, and where we left off, we were going to look at the temp door actuator for the driver's side, which Sean has successfully done. You can see what's involved. This is where you all continue to be happy that you do what you do for a living, and it's quite a dig he's on. Confirmed that the door moved properly from one end to the other. There's no real linkage or anything in there, which meant that the actuator was bad internally. I will see if we can crack that actuator open. We have removed it and replaced it with a brand new GM product, and we'll see if we can get a look at it. If not, some of them don't come apart. It doesn't matter. And we'll show you what happens when it's all back together.
Okay, now normally, basically it's a cut and dry. You test the blend door actuator. In some cases, you pull the blend door actuator out, you turn it with a screwdriver, make sure the door isn't hindered, and bang bang, there you go. It's very, very typically a blend door actuator. On this one, not quite as cut and dry. Okay, these have a tendency to have evaporator issues, which you're pulling the dash for, or blend door issues. Now, typically they'd be on the side, down here. But they are not. Yeah, they are above the HVAC, which you can't see. Okay, so go ahead and find me the blend door actuator. Basically what we're gonna do, this is your heater box. Follow my finger. Boop, boop, boop. Back here is your heater box. It's going to be on top of the heater box, okay? So the book says to remove the dash. Now, that is quite the bill for a hunch that the blend door actuator is bad. Now, I should have showed, but I didn't. The data on the PIDs basically show that it's being commanded, but the actual is all over the place. Sometimes it's where it should be, other times it's way, way out. Now, we use the Snap-on Zeus, so it's recognized in counts. So you'll get, like, say I go all the way to hot, it'll say desired 300 counts, actual 300 counts. Okay, that's what the passenger reads. On the driver's side, it's all over the place. So we have a very good idea that it's the blend door actuator. What we're doing, yeah, I'm making a little video on how stupid this is.
Can you see it?
No, not yet. Where the radio's pulled, the HVAC unit's pulled, so we could see down there, but what you'll notice is this giant plastic piece up here. So I have
Get
to
the air saw.
Yep. That's what we're discussing.
I don't see nothing.
I see nothing. Yeah. So it's kind of a laughable thing, because what do? You charge the customer diagnosis fee. Well, if I'm pulling your entire dash, I mean, that could be 10 hours. So that's $1,000 diagnosis fee, and we haven't even got to the repair yet. So this one has a little trick. If you can get the radio out, get the HVAC unit out. Now most of these are pop panels. Okay, so this just pops off. All right, this pops off. That's what all these are. They are what hold the clips in. Okay, anything like this obviously is screwed in. Okay, so this would be your center console where your cup holders are. Okay, and down here is where your HMI or human whatever, multi-interface module is. This would be where your HVAC unit is, and this would be where your radio is. Okay, so now that we've come this far, I wanted to stop and show people how this is not as cut and dry. Now keep in mind, this is a 2015 Tahoe. Most Chevy products, they're right on the side. I don't want to say they're easy. Usually you're a little bit of a contortionist, but this one, it's much, much heavier. These are all the components removed thus far. Radio, HVAC unit, bezel, couple modules, center console. That would be the hood just over the steering wheel. That's my little collector for the bolts. A couple little independent pieces that you'll find. The next big portion of this, and I guess there will be a part 3 to this video, is we need to now remove the dash pad. Okay, and after removing the dash pad, I'll be able to remove the airbag just behind here. And once I do that, I should be able to actually see the actuator, in which allows me to not have to pull said dash, because basically you'd have to remove steering wheel column, you name it. You'd have to basically remove everything. So we're dodging a lot of hours here by just removing the dash pad, the components shown, and the airbag. So once I can do that, and I can get my phone in there to show everybody what the actual actuator looks like and how to remove it, we'll make the part 3. It's been fun, and I got about 2 hours in it so far with research and removal. So if anybody has any questions, comment below. This is the part that we're actually talking about. This is the new one. This white piece right here connects to the blend door. The old one was able to move hot, cold, but it would stop just short of cold. So I'm going to tighten these screws down, and I was able to make it. You just pop that back in, and you can make it work even while this is all taken apart, just to confirm. So once these screws go back in, which there's one down in here, there's going to be another one right about there. I'm going to tighten these up, and we're going to test. Everything should work just fine. Now there is a recalibration process that might have to take place too, but that's it. This is the old one, and I am getting to it. This is where the passenger airbag sits.
This is what the big deal is all about. This is your old actuator. We'll see if it opens up. There's what it looks like with the cover off. Sometimes you open these up, like I said, not that it matters, but just out of curiosity, we open them up and look at them, and you'll see stripped gears, something stuck or just couldn't handle it. Nothing at first glance here. So unfortunately in this case, we're not going to get any kind of visual feedback. The gears all look like they're still there. The motor obviously turns as we were getting some kind of movement. but you can see the feedback side of it. It uses this setup to give it, you know, position signal back to the controller. So there could be, you know, any of a number of things wrong there that we wouldn't be able to see with our eyes. So is at this point where we that's why we test so thoroughly, because it's not so much like some people think it is, where you can just pull it apart and look at it. In this case, there's just nothing to look at. On a paper parts diagram, it looks like this. This part right here. Sean is replacing that.
Driver's side was at 78 degrees, down 30 degrees. Confirm the fix. Passenger side should be about the same. And there we go. Not to mention, look at left lower air duct, 60 degrees. Mind you, things are still taken apart. Let's see, lower right air duct, 53. Okay, so these were reading mid-70s before, so confirm the fix.
Okay, so we're back with our Tahoe, our difference of temperature Tahoe. Sean has expertly replaced the driver's side actuator. All is well inside again. I was in there, but it's actually quite frosty. Both sides are even, no issue there. We just went ahead and calibrated our actuator doors. Calibrated the actuators. So that's complete. We'll go back right now to our data display. We'll go to the door position data. Everything's set on full cold right now. You can see that our left side desired and actual. That's the desired right there, 94, and the actual is 97. The right side, which we didn't have an issue with before, you see they're in that same margin of error or difference. I don't ever expect them to be exactly the same. Again, I never did look up exactly what the range there is, but it's a lot. If it's off by a few, it's basically a difference that's imperceptible. So that's it. That's going to wrap this one up. Ice cold on both sides. I checked for the sweep from hot to cold. It works totally normal, and nothing left to do here but the ugly part. We'll do some paperwork, call a customer and tell him he's all set, he's ready for summer. That wraps this one up. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you checking out the BC channel, and subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks.